Is it the 6th month of the year? 621 and 621.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, Washed Up Walk-Ons fans. Episode 221 of the podcast. And today, your boy got a hold of some information that you just simply didn't want your boy to get a hold of, because this podcast was at one time the Corona Chronicles. And we were talking about all of the potential conspiracies, and we were being called all sorts of names all over the internet by these dumb little liberal cucks that believed everything that their masters told them, like sheep. But now news comes out that the National Institute of Health was funding high-level contaminant research in Wuhan, and 3 of the employees that were working on human lung tissue and how to most properly infect it were the ones that were infected and didn't say anything about it and spread it throughout Wuhan. And it was in fact not a bat, like we said on this podcast some 14 months ago, that there's no chance some dude just ate a bat and shut the world down. Turns out the 2 idiots with a mic were right. And I think all you sheep owe your shepherd an apology.
Jesus Christ. We're not gonna have any fucking listeners, man. We're just it's just like, how's the coffee taste this morning, dude?
It tastes better when you're right.
What do you get for coffee? What's your order?
I order a triple espresso and a grande cup, and then I come home and I have my oat milk steaming in the pot on the stove.
Little
And
Oatly?
And instead of paying $4 for Oatly and brown sugar at Starbucks, I steam my own Oatly and throw a pinch of brown sugar in it. And that's my order. Triple espresso with Oatly and a pinch of brown sugar.
It's Drizzy's Drip House. That's what it is.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm looking for that Joe Rogan Black Rifle espresso machine so that I can just cut out Starbucks altogether.
Yeah. I heard Fraser and a couple other CrossFit guys are super into coffee. Like, so into coffee that they have their own brand. They like have gotten into the game, and they're like way into the machine. I'm sure we have listeners too. Coffee's like a cult kind of thing. And there's machines that are like, I mean, it's a whole operation, dude. And
Now that you mentioned the word machine, I'm going to take this opportunity to let Hawk fans know that Kevin Casper Hawk, that guy is the single biggest freak I've ever met in my life, bar none.
this was number 1 on my list to talk about.
This guy blended me by a workout so hard. He didn't even try. He was laughing at me on camera. He took his phone and videoed me bent over in a prayer position, spitting up in his rocks in his yard. And he was just laughing, and he was like, workout got the best of him. And he sent that to Coach Woods, and Coach Woods got to enjoy a nice laugh of me bent over praying over my puke in Kevin Casper's backyard.
So I texted him just to circle back and be like, hey, let's find a time to get you on. And you want to hear what he said?
I don't know if I do, to be honest.
So the guy is genetically, so a lot of the fans of this podcast, many of you listening probably have very fond memories of Kevin Casper, just because that's our demographic, right? Like, our listeners are a little bit older. They're like Hawk fans that were like prime of their life has been the last 20 years, right? And so Casp, we always knew he was different. Like, he hit, like Coach Doyle always talked about how he was the guy. He still holds the record to this day of the 5.10.5 for the combine. He went to the league I don't know how much he actually played in the league or
He had to deal a lot of injuries. He told me about some of his injury history. He broke his back and he broke his neck in
wow.
separate instances. And now he has like a lot of disc degeneration in his back. And I just don't understand how a dude can still move like that. He's an avatar.
So yeah. So I mean, what is he?
I didn't
45?
ask his age. I know that he is old enough to have a 16-year-old superstar as a kid.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're getting around to. God, when you look at pictures of him back when he played,
How bad did he shit on me?
he shit on you a little bit. It was a little bit disrespectful.
That's okay. I understand.
He's 43 years old. From Hinsdale, Illinois. He's 6'1". And he was 200 pounds as a receiver for Iowa. So he's 43, man. And if you go and look at this guy, he has uh, he's an alien. I mean, you said something about the veins in his legs, and I went back to his Instagram and I looked at a couple of the pictures of him, like, post training session. I've never seen veins in a guy's legs like that. I mean,
Ever in your whole life, in all of existence.
and was I mean, he's an absolute freak. If you go back to his Instagram, he's got pictures with Brady because he was on the Patriots for a while. And now he just happens to live in Gilbert, Arizona, where you currently reside. And I started seeing, I've seen him tweet over the last however many years since I've been on Twitter and out of the playing. And obviously, every time I see somebody that's a known name in the Hawkeye community, I kind of bank it away as like, oh, at some point when the time is right, need to get that guy in the pod, right? That's just how I think whenever I come across a former guy. And it just so happens that he has made some young casps, like several of them, and they have the genetics. Like the genetics have been carried on because his son is athletic as hell.
Number one rated recruit in Arizona in his class.
Yeah, and um, I think he's already got offers from Iowa State, Iowa, Arizona State,
USC.
a couple Pac-12 schools. So he's a D1 legit recruit, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna hit him up and see if he wants to come on the podcast. We can talk about his time, and then we can also talk about the potential of his son, and what that's gonna look like. And I hit him up and I was like, hey, Kevin, my name's Tyler. Like, I run a podcast with a couple former teammates. And he responded back immediately. He's like, dude, you don't have to tell me who you are. Like, the Washed Up Walk-Ons is awesome. I listen to you guys all the time. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, cool. Cause I'm still just Marshalltown kid, Tyler, who doesn't think that we're shit. Right.
And to be honest, seeing how deep his blood runs black and gold. He has a black and gold Ford Raptor.
Wow, that's elite.
He has an Iowa shrine in his house. His grill covers are Iowa. His basketball hoop pads are Iowa.
Like he's fully bought in.
A Hawk through his family's core.
Yeah,
that's how much of a Hawk he is. But
it's incredible. And so I hit him up. He's like, yeah, man, I'll come on the podcast. Absolutely. And then he started he's like, by the way, I was like, he immediately called me. He's like, I gotta get Drake's number. I was like, Drake's out in Arizona. You know that, like he lives in Gilbert. He's like, he's in Gilbert? Oh, I gotta hit that guy up. And he immediately in his mind, he must have thought, oh, I gotta fucking work out with this guy. Like I get to work out with another former Hawk. Like I'd love to, because he's probably looking for something like that. And so then you guys set that up, and it's been like a week and a half or 2 weeks since all that conversation went through. And then yesterday, after you told me that he destroyed you, I said, yo, Cass, this is Kluve. Heard you left Drake in the dust a little bit with the workout and yada, yada. Let's get a time scheduled. He said, what up, homie? Yeah, Drake came through. Real good dude. Really pushed himself mentally and physically, which I love. He said, for a regular human, he did awesome. I just don't put myself in that category.
Bro. But that's not even egotistical for him to say, because like he's right when he says that I push myself really hard mentally and physically. Like I pushed myself close to my own personal breaking point.
Yeah.
The funny thing about it is my breaking point lies nowhere within the same stratosphere as his breaking point.
After that, he said, "I'm a different breed."
A different breed.
And I was like, man, you really must be at
But the thing is,
43.
I want to know how. I would love to see the study, like I want to see how his muscles are working so efficiently. Like, how do his muscles perform at such an elite level with such low oxygen? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
So I can't wait to have him on. And he said, I believe he said he's leaving he just left. Him and his son actually are taking the
They're in
official.
Iowa City right
Yeah,
now.
they're taking the official in Iowa City right now.
Yep.
Or they're out making a trip to Iowa City for this week or so. He's out here for
today they left. It's Sunday. They
Yeah.
left today and they're gone till Thursday.
Yep. So hopefully that goes well, because I would love to see what's his kid's name? Is it Kyle? Kyler.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, so Casp played for Arizona, the
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Yep.
And he was talking about Larry Fitz and Kyler. And he was talking about how, and I was thinking Kyler
Murray
the whole time. And then he starts talking about Kyler and Williams Field High School and Kyler recruiting and stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, same name. So the Arizona connection runs deep in the Casp family, even though they're Hawks too.
Yeah. I wondered how he got out there. So he must have ended up with Arizona as like his final stop.
No. So I'll let him tell his story, but he has it's a cool thing. He started his own business, sweet business, and then decided that he was going to sell that and move. But yeah, we'll all talk about it.
Okay, cool. And he just evidently, I think he's a mix of two things. One, I think for 43, 43 years old, he gets out of playing at whatever, 28 maybe or whatever. So for last 10, 15 years, it's just proof of a guy who, the human body's amazing. And a lot of people could actually be a whole lot more than they are if they just kept up. And it's what we're trying to do right now. Like you, me, Kevin, right? We're trying to stave off the, that late 20s through your 30s drought of, oh, I was active when I was younger, but I just stopped doing stuff until my 40s. And then when I got to 40, I realized that, oh, I better pick things up again. And over the course of that time, you lose so much. But if you never lose it, and you stay competitive and you keep your body in a certain amount of shape, you're going to be able to maintain a level of fitness. And I don't think to Kevin Casper's level, because again, genetics plays a huge role. This guy's just a 1 in a billion, right? But it's possible to be in your 40s and still look like a freak and perform like a freak if you want to and if you stay diligent. But
I do believe after training with him and after talking to him and just like not studying his mind, but you train hard with a guy and then you have a couple hours of conversation with before and after and talking about each other's families and past and etc. Like you learn a little bit about somebody. He is actually 1 in a billion.
Yeah.
It's not just a saying. It was pretty mind boggling for me. It was eye opening. And I texted him immediately after I apologized that I couldn't give him the workout partner that like he was looking for.
Right.
And I was like, I apologize that I'm not in good enough shape for you. And like, let's work on it. And I'm down to get fit because you just showed me that like there are levels to human performance that I've never even sniffed.
Never. For anybody interested in what we're talking about, and if you have Instagram, or just go to Instagram, and his username is KCasperHawk87, all one word, no spaces, no other symbols or anything. KCasperHawk87, and yeah, man. I mean, let's be honest. Like, dude's living the life. He trains. He's found a way to live for the rest of his life and sustain himself. Like, he's made his money. He lives in Arizona. His family is beautiful. I mean, his family is gorgeous. Like, his wife looks like she's in college, dude. And she's like 40, I'm sure,
She's
his
a
age.
very attractive, nice, kind lady. That's how I'll say it.
And dude's just a savage. And then you can scroll down and see this picture of him and this guy. I mean, his legs look like a spider web, dude. It's dumb. I will say this. He probably his like he probably does sleds as his main thing.
He says sleds or he just eats them alive.
Yeah, and the reason for that, I bet, is since you mentioned his degeneration in his discs, is he probably can't load his spine a whole lot. So doing stuff like heavy, heavy deadlifts or heavy squats,
Yeah, listen to this.
they would
This
fuck
is
him
what he.
up.
This is the other thing that he does. He bought him. I mean, obviously, he might have bought it when he was playing, but he has a Vertimax,
Yeah.
and so he put extremely heavy tension on the Vertimax and made us pick up the handles,
Oh,
put them over our shoulders, and then do box step ups as fast as you could. You had 40 reps of box step ups here and then here, holding them.
I'm jealous, dude. I want to train with him.
I died.
I'm so jealous, dude. Oh man. That's the kind like so basically Kevin Casper is the guy that I want to be when I'm 43. Like I want to be that dude. And I don't have the genetics for that, but I could still be relative to a normal human. Like I want to be the guy who, my kids are in high school and all of his friends are like, yeah, dude, like his dad is just like he's a weirdo. Like he's stronger than all of us. He's ripped and he's 45 and he just for some reason he's still way better than us at everything. That's who I want to be. Um and maybe Casp can get me that way.
Dude,
But
after that workout with Casp, I went home and took a very long nap.
mhm.
Woke up to a text from him with two Peloton results of him in the top 50 in the world on 25-mile rides back to back, time stamps to prove so after we just did that workout.
That's so stupid.
And then I got a call from a homie of mine that said, hey, come down to the gym that we train at because the Diaz brothers are coming in to train because Nate has the fight this next weekend in Phoenix. I'm like, well, I'm there. I'm never going to skip a
Yeah.
training session with the Diaz brothers.
Yeah.
And guess who didn't show up to a 6-hour training window? The Diaz brothers, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. They just no showed.
Didn't come. That's tough. It's tough. So
I got buried in the morning and bad beat in the afternoon.
yeah, that's tough. Yeah, so he's Sunday through Thursday is they're in Iowa, the Caps are, and then USC for a few days after that. And then they're still deciding on what other trips they're gonna make. So man, would be nice to have that blood in Iowa City. And as fans listening, you guys, I guarantee he's a 4-star right now. So we need that. And he's got another son. He's got another son that's like what, in middle school?
He's definitely younger, yeah.
And I think his younger son, he's got to be 5th, 6th grade. He just hit like a 42-inch box jump or like a 52-inch
Oh my
box jump.
Lord.
Something stupid. So
Well, Casp says that he hooks his kid up to the Vertimax and makes him dunk. So his kid's dunking with Vertimax belts on.
bro, I could barely get off the Vertimax. For anybody listening, you could just search VERTIMAX. It's basically just this little platform that's like 2 or 3 inches off the ground, which allows like the cabling underneath to kind of fit beneath the platform. And it's just you basically put a belt on, or you could hold onto them too. And they're just resistance bands that are, you can add resistance to it up to a certain amount, and it allows you to jump or do exercises with resistance bands essentially. But it's a cool way to kind of set it up. So doesn't surprise me at all. So that's Kevin Casper, Iowa Hawkeye, through and through, evidently. Back to the old COVID thing in 2021, and it's the middle of summer. John Rahm was absolutely murdering the golf tournament this weekend, and they plucked him off the course.
4-shot lead after 3 rounds, sets a course record at the Memorial for lowest 3-round score. And then he gets pulled off the course and says, you're going to lose this title because you got a sniffles.
Doesn't even have sniffles. He's asymptomatic. He just tested positive. And here's my question. Like, you can argue like, hey, you got to follow the rules, or like you got to be safe for other people, or is it even dangerous anymore? All this stuff. But the question that I have is like, when does this stop affecting things? Right? At some point, the numbers, like, the vaccination numbers, like, when does someone make the decision finally? Because it seems
So
like everyone right now is just too scared. Like, it's
let
just
me
gonna
ask you this. Have you ever seen a Chihuahua?
Yeah.
Have you seen how a Chihuahua acts during a thunderstorm?
Actually, yeah, I have 2 Chihuahuas. My buddy in high school had one.
Typically, they don't react well, right?
No, they're a little skittish, yeah.
And when does that stop for a Chihuahua?
Um,
When they die?
Sure. I mean, yeah, they're
See what I'm getting at?
okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, well, here, but that's not good, because then the people making these decisions like all need to die. Because
Oops, you said it, not me, Daddy.
well, I'm saying like, okay, like COVID isn't going away, right? Like COVID is now just another thing, like the flu or like allergies. Like it's gonna be a seasonal thing where, oh, this year we had this many COVID cases. It's not going to zero, right? And there's other strains that are probably going to pop up and be more so uh, uh, viral in and out year to year. The flu is a thing,
Especially because they're making it in a lab and testing the effectiveness on human tissue. So yeah, it probably is going to continue to become more dangerous.
Yeah, that is an interesting backstory. So like the question is like, when does the government then decide, or the legislators or the rule makers, when do they decide, okay, like, is there a number that's been put? I don't know, because I don't follow it too closely. It just doesn't affect me that much. But like, it sucks to see somebody get plucked off the course. When is it no longer an issue where someone tests positive for COVID, and everyone's scared that like, if we don't pluck him off the course, then it's just going to create this crazy spread, right? Like, when can someone get COVID, and because there's enough vaccinations and because have herd immunity long enough, like, when is it suddenly like, yeah, he had COVID, battled through COVID and won the tournament. Like, it's okay. He just stayed in the tournament. Like, I don't know. Because there's no way, like, it'll just go on forever. I don't have the answer. I'm not smart enough. I don't know the answer to that. But it seems like at some point we just have to say, okay, he's got COVID. Like, it's either
Well,
you're
we
vaccinated
know
or
we know now that the media is no longer a source of truth. It's just a source of entertainment,
oh,
and
you've known that for a while.
whoever pays the most gets their ideas projected for entertainment purposes and for clicks and views. So until that stops, until people stop clickbaiting coronavirus and how scary it is, it's just not going to stop.
God, it's just so
And
annoying.
here's what I'll say. I'm going to prison for life if I ever see Fauci, because I'm going to take the back of his head and I'm going to slam it off of the concrete until his occipital lobe turns into his frontal lobe, and they're all in a smoothie together on the pavement.
Okay. This is definitely getting flagged by the government. What? I'm not even gonna get into it. His emails were leaked, and he's got like some back end communication with them before all this shit went down, or what?
Dr. Ouchie Fauci is just like Hillary Clinton, dude. You might as well rename him shit fuck Fauci Clinton right next to Bill and Hillary, because they're 3 of the most crooked. I want to talk like a British individual right now, but I'll hold myself. They're 3 of the most crooked pieces of shit that the United States has ever seen.
What a shirt that would be. Shit fuck Fauci Clinton. If we could make that and sell it, I mean, I just don't know how many people would buy it, but like make it like red, white, and blue, and like in the like Obama Biden 2008 or 2012 or whatever, in that logo, that font, that format that they do the presidential campaign shirts with. Fucking shit, fuck Fauci Clinton. I mean, just what a quote. Yeah. So all of you listening, I'm sure have heard enough about COVID, and so have we. We just don't want to hear about it anymore. Like I heard it when I listened to the story about John Rahm, I was like, when is this gonna end? Like, just let him have COVID then. It's now your fault. Like, if you're scared of COVID, then go get vaccinated. You should be fine, right? Like, it's never gonna fully go away. So at some point, we just have to accept that a couple people are gonna get it. Like, I don't know. The flu kills fucking 50,000 people a year. We seem to have been we seem to have gotten to the point where we're okay with that, you know? It's like, "Oh, he's got the flu." Yeah, all right, cool.
And I'm going to say something that I got attacked for a year ago, and I don't give a fuck. We also have a country full of 70% obese people that drive through the McDonald's drive through 4 days a week. So focus on that first.
Yeah, you're tearing at my heartstrings there because yeah. I get it if you wear the mask and you follow all the protocol and everything just because you have to get into a place, or it's your work rules or whatever it may be. But if you're scared of the COVID because of what you think it could potentially do to you, you're you're but you're still, like out smoking a cigarette and, you're 40 pounds overweight. You're worried you're worried about the wrong preventative system there. Like maybe exercise would be something to focus on other than like wearing your mask in your car or something. I don't know. I just when you said that we were the COVID Chronicles at one point, that was episode 99 with Alex Meyer when that first came out. 99. We're at 220. Over half of this podcast, over half the episodes have been done during the COVID era. And it's like,
it feels like the majority of my post athletic life has been spent in the COVID era.
it's unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
I can't fucking deal with it anymore. I'm going to go insane. So speaking of other high recruits, got a couple things before we let this one go, because this was basically just the suck off Kevin Casper pod and tease him coming on the pod and then talk about ouchie Fauci.
I'm glad you said that because I was literally about to say ouchie Fauci right there.
Southeast Polk has these two kids, one in the class of 22, one in the class of 23. Number one DB in the country.
In the country?
In the country. His
From
name's,
Southeast Polk?
Yep. Xavier. I really don't know how to say his last name.
It has something to do with the kid's name Xavier and turning into damn good DBs.
Yeah. His name's Xavier like Nwangpa or something. It's like NWANKPA or something. I don't know. He's the number one DB in the country. He's got offers from Bama, Auburn. I mean, everybody has offered him, right? He's a 5-star.
Yeah, he's the number one. He literally has his choice. He could just say, I'm going here, and
he gets to choose where he wants to go. Yep. Yeah. And then the year behind him, there's a kid named Caden Proctor, who's an offensive lineman, who's like a 4-star, number one recruit in Iowa. He might even be a 5-star. I'll have to look it up here.
And who's the kid out of Kennedy, the 8th grader out of Kennedy?
Oh my God, dude!
Oh my God!
I retweeted the 6'7", 310 or 330 pounds, and he's going into freshman year. And I retweeted it and said, like, yeah, I know a place where they take guys like this and turn them into incredible, rich young men. And it got some hype. And
Tristan Wirfs has entered the chat.
Yeah, I mean, this Caden Proctor kid and the kid from Kennedy both look like little Tristan Wirfs, except for they're both bigger than Tristan Wirfs. Like Tristan's what, 6'5", 6'6"?
Oh, I don't know if he's even that tall. He might in the 6'4", 6'5",
6'4", 6'5" range. Both these kids are 6'7".
Yeah.
So
I mean, the more length that you got on your arms as an offensive lineman is the better. The further away you can keep these guys from your body, that's a really good that's a tangible to have.
Yeah, that's tangible.
Yeah.
This Caden Proctor kid is also a 5-star. I misspoke. I think I'm looking at 247 Sports. I don't know what rating matters here, but it says that
What happened to the state of Iowa, dude? Did we just pick up some good football?
So it says he's the 9th best recruit in the country. The lineman is.
Okay.
He's the 2nd offensive tackle, and he's number 1 in Iowa. So they on the same team have a senior that's the number 1 DB in the country, and a junior that's the number 2 offensive tackle in the country.
Have you ever heard of not losing?
That's the thing is yeah, I don't know.
Because obviously that DB is the most athletic kid on the field at any time. You just send him deep and he'll catch touchdowns.
Yeah, and I think they have a decent quarterback too, or maybe he just graduated. But so this Caden Proctor kid has offers from everywhere too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Iowa, the DB is visiting Iowa, I think, or camping with Iowa this summer. The camp circuit is huge right now. Like the recruiting dead period just ended after over a year. So everyone's going hard. There's a ton of offers coming out. And my question is, or I guess the conversation that we can have is, how do you keep these kids? Like, what's the sell for the Hawks to keep these kids?
Unfortunately, I listened to Johnny Manziel on Bussin' with the Boys. And unfortunately, if Iowa continues to play ball the right way, I don't think they can.
I just they're the best in their position in the country. And they're 90 minutes from Iowa City.
Now, I think the offensive linemen, Iowa has a lot better chance of keeping the offensive linemen. Just because I guess our defensive back.
I was gonna say both. Like honestly, like if you picked a position, what is Iowa best at developing? It's offensive linemen, DBs, and tight ends.
Yeah.
So they fit into 2 of those. So I'm thinking like, hey, you've got the sell on the position group, like Coach Parker and the Iowa offensive line. You're gonna be a pro.
It's just no disrespect to the Iowa program. It's that the things that they're not getting is guaranteed conference championship appearances, guaranteed national championship appearances, and money. That's 3 huge factors that other schools are actually able to offer right now, because we know it's crooked and it's been confirmed crooked. And when you're the number 1 recruit in your position, that means that every single school wants you because you're the number 1 most coveted human being walking the earth that they can put on their football team.
I respect Kirk and the boys for doing it clean, and I know they do it clean because
you got to cheat. You got to cheat. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
If I was a coach and I was the coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes right now, I would be finding I would be exploring on the very DL every backdoor option to get this kid something a little extra to come and spend 3 years in Iowa City.
If we just make sure this kid never pays a tab in his life in Iowa City, I mean, every meal is somehow the tab comes out cleared up.
I mean, if you're the number 2 tackle and the number 1 DB in you're going to the league. As long as you don't get arrested and you don't beat women during college and you keep your grades semi-okay to stay eligible, in 3 years, you're getting drafted. That's just, it's going to happen. And it's so for these kids, as long as they keep their head on straight, it's just a matter of, where do I want to spend my 3 years? Where do I look who shows up? Kevin shows up hungover, eyes heavy at the lake. This is what we love to see. Yeah, Kevin, you missed our Ouchie Fauci conversation, and you would have really enjoyed it. Wearing the David Goggins shirt as well.
Stay hard, motherfuckers.
I love it. Incredible. So currently we've talked about Kevin Casper. Drake worked out with him and absolutely got demolished, and he's an incredible human.
Oh, dude. My dad, my parents are neighbors, know him forever. Parents are friends with his parents, know his parents, neighbors.
Oh, there you go. Small
My
world.
parents and his parents are neighbors.
Okay. Well, the
alcohol that was being processed in Kevin's system overnight as he woke up has a little bit of cloud in his cerebral cortex.
There's a little bit of fog. he is enjoying a large breakfast. It looks like a mixture of an omelet or something similar to that.
It's a little like a French toast bake. You got some blueberries in here,
Okay.
some sort of cheese, I think. Put some syrup on top. There you go.
So then we talked about John Rahm getting plucked from the golf tournament, and when they're gonna
Tough.
when they're gonna decide like that if you have COVID, it's okay, like it's the flu, like you just have to at some point we have to just accept it, right? And we talked about ouchie Fauci, and now I ask the question because Southeast Polk here in Des Moines has basically the best kid in the country at 2 different positions. And they have offers from everybody. How do the boys in Iowa City, KF and the boys, how do they sell them and keep them in state? Like, what's the answer?
Hawks by a million, motherfucker.
But it's not though, because we lose a couple games every year, and that's just gonna happen. And like,
Let's get rowdy in Iowa, fucking shitty.
so you just sell them on Summit and bottles
I mean, if we can get Kinnick repacked, it is a good sell. Like some of the big time recruits that showed up to the Ohio State game or the Michigan game in 16, like they ended up committing, and they talked about how that experience in Kinnick, how it was like pretty magical.
More so and more so. It's about finding guys that will fit into your culture. And I think the guys who will fit our culture will want to be a part of our culture. And I think that's honestly.
So in the end, you just have to get lucky and hope that they were raised to be fucking Iowa boys, right? Like.
Yeah, that like their moral compass, their drive, their, discipline. It's just like, this program's really aligns with my priorities, and I think it's going to be great for me for the next 4 or 5 years. That's why I want to go there. I think that's, would be the ideal way to recruit and be recruited. But, you're talking to 16 to 18-year-old kids, and
who have never seen $250,000 cash in their life.
Right, and you get to talk to them for a half hour at a time. So it's pretty much impossible.
Even worse, it's working against Iowa now is the whole NIL stuff, because other states are passing it, and like that's not going to play well. It just isn't until Iowa decides that they're on board. Like, I mean, even Bielema in Illinois came out and said we're all for it. They're already working with a company to like this Open Doors company is like. I've already seen it multiple times pop up with college teams that they're like, yeah, we're working with a company now who's built to build athletes' brands and help them, grow themselves and their platform. And it's like, okay, well, cool. We'll just suck. Like Illinois is just going to beat us then, because they're going to have all the best players now. They're on board. Like, I don't know. Now the question is the orange juice that Kevin just drank down, is that filled with champagne? Was that a mimosa?
No, that was actually just orange juice.
Okay. Cool. Kev, you are assumably at the lake right now. And how's that time? We're closing down the podcast here. There's not much more to talk about. But how's your time?
This is my last full weekend up here ever. It's pulls at my heartstrings a little bit, but it was a good weekend.
Dang, they're selling the lake house?
Sold.
So
you guys the next property for the beef house?
We'll see. I'm sure there'll be something somewhere.
Oh, there's for sure going to be a place for beef to kick his feet up somewhere. It may not be on a lake. It may be on a ranch. It may be in a mountain somewhere, but it'll be somewhere.
Yeah, it won't. No. He ain't a mountain type guy.
It's going to have to be on a lake, because they got that wakeboarding boat. They're not going to let that one go to waste. No?
Sold it.
Sold the boat? Oh my God.
Boat's not coming home either.
I don't even know who you guys are anymore.
All right.
It's what it is? It's the goober that's getting to him. If he would just eat separate peanut butter and jelly, maybe these decisions wouldn't leak into his subconscious and, but the goober, the chemical makeup of putting those two together and preserving them in the same jar, that's probably what it is.
He knows what he's doing, but it's, sometimes you just got to say goodbye to the past and look forward to the future.
Hey, and with that, let's look forward to the future this week. Kevin Ward got to jump in, help us sign off. And that's it. Ouchie Fauci, taking L's. Episode 221.
And this podcast just continuously being right in the future. So whenever you think we're wrong, just shut up and revisit us a year later and we'll be right.
Also, if you're listening to this, Logan Paul and Mayweather boxed last night. So that's interesting and intriguing. That's it. 221. Have a fantastic Monday. Have a fantastic week. The warm weather is here. Summer is here. Go get yourself some exercise off the couch. We're less than 100 days from Iowa football, so we're rolling in to the season. Kevin's wearing the shirt. Goggins, best advice there is, stay hard. Peace.